Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I teach you how to build digital solutions and automate your workflows. Now in today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to build a basic news application without writing any code. That's right, this is going to be a no-code tutorial, and I really hope it's going to be useful for many of you out there that don't have any technical background. Now the use cases for this app are literally endless. You can use this to keep your local community up to date. You can use it as part of your business, in order to keep your customers up to date with your latest products and services. Your imagination is literally the limit, and there's so many different ways that this app can be useful for you. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at what exactly we're going to be building, and then I'll show you the tools we're going to use in order to achieve this. As you can see, I already made a demo news app right here, and this app will allow you to create articles and preview them in a list. And then when a user clicks on an article, they will get a page with the actual full article and more information about it, right? So now let's see what tools we're gonna use in order to achieve this. The good news is that we're only gonna need two services. The first service is called glideapps.com. Now, Glide Apps, guys, is a fantastic tool that allows you to visually create applications with the help of Google Sheets. And that's the second service we're going to need, Google Sheets, right? And the best explanation for Glide Apps is this right here. Glide turns your spreadsheets into beautiful, easy to use apps. That's the best explanation, guys. It visually allows you to design and create an app, and then we're going to use Google Sheets as the database of the app. That's where all the data, all the articles, all the information is going to be stored, and we're going to use that data in order to link it with the app that we create in Google in glideapps.com, right? So that's the only thing we're going to need in order to achieve this. Now, in order to get started, guys, you just click on Get Started right here. And both of these services we're going to be using are completely free for you to get started. And with Glide Apps, guys, you're going to need a Google account, right? So if you have a Gmail, then you already have a Google account. But if you don't, what you can do is go to google.com and then click on the sign in button at the top right. Sign in with your Google account, or if you don't have one already, you can just click here to creating a new account. And then once you do that, you're going to be able to go back here, sign up with your account, and then you should be redirected to your Glide Apps dashboard. This is my dashboard right here, and this is where we can start by creating a new app. Now, as you can see, when I go to create app here, I'm given two options: create from template and create from Google Sheet. Create from Google Sheet is what we want to do. However, in order to select this option, the first thing we need to do is actually create a new Google Sheet, right? So in order to create a Google Sheet, what you want to do is go to your Google account. As you can see, I have already signed in. So you need to sign in first, and then what you want to do is go here, Drive, and you want to go to New and create a new Google Sheet, right? As I mentioned before, this is going to be the database. This is where we're going to be storing all the data that our app is going to use, right? So what I'm going to do is name the spreadsheet, let's see, news app tutorial. And then in order to get started, and in order for Glide to allow you to create a new app, the only thing you need to do is just type anything you want in this spreadsheet, just some data. It doesn't really matter. This is just something we need to do in order for Glide to allow us to create a new app. So now what I can do is go here, select create from Google Sheet, and then you're going to select the Google Sheet you just created, right? It should appear right here because you're signed in with your Google account. Therefore, the new Google spreadsheet that you just created should appear at the top of the list. I'm just going to select this. And now Glide is going to create a new app for me. So we're now inside the Glide platform, and we're ready to start building our app. Now, this is the page where we're going to be adding components to our app and designing the whole interface. As you can see, we get a nice preview of our application right here, and then on the right hand side we get all the settings and the options to add components to the app, right? So we're going to come back to this page later. The first thing we need to do is go to the tabs page right here. This is the page where we're going to be creating new tabs for our app, right? So currently we have one tab right here. In other words, a tab is like a page. Think of it as a page on the application, right? So we currently have one page, or in other words, one tab. In order to create new tabs for your app, what you need to do is go up here and click on this button. And as you can see, we now have two tabs, right? And I can switch between the two. But for this tutorial, we're actually only going to need one tab. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to select this tab I have right here. So when I select this, I get all the options for the tab. The first thing I can do is change the label. The label is this thing right here. So I can call it news, for example. This makes a little bit more sense. You can call it anything you like. It doesn't really matter. And then right here, I went ahead and selected a new icon, right? Again, this doesn't matter because the page is not going to be empty, right? However, you can go ahead and search for like an icon. I searched for news and I found this one right here. Okay, now the most important part of this window right here is the source option. Now the source is where the tab is going to get data from, right? So as I mentioned before, our app is going to use Google Sheets as the database. This is where all the data that the app is going to display will be stored, right? And currently on this spreadsheet right here, we have one sheet, right? It's called sheet 1. If I click on this button, I can create a new sheet, right? And I can double click on it in order to rename it to anything I like. Again, for this tutorial, we're only going to need one sheet. So I'm going to delete this. And this is the sheet I'm going to be adding data to. What I can do is just double click on this and rename it to articles. Now, since this is a news app, the only data that we need to store is the article data, right? We need a place to store all the articles we're going to be creating, right? So this sheet right here is going to be that place. The first thing I need to do is create some headings for the data, right? So when you're structuring data, you need to have some headings in order to define the columns that you're going to put data under, right? So in an article, the first thing we have is a title. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to add a name to this column, title. The second thing we have is a description, right? So this is like a small extract from the article, you know, just to give the user a general idea of what the article is going to be about. The next thing we have is the author's name. So I'm just going to call it author. And the next thing we have is the actual article, right? This is going to be the actual text of the article. And then we can also have an image, right? And then you can select all these and make them bold. There you go. So these were already bold. I made this one bold as well, right? So these are the headings that defined the data structure. Now let's go ahead and actually create a new article. I'm going to name this article, let's just name it something random, you know, like test article 1. And the description could be, this is just a random description. The author, I'm just going to put George. And then the article, this is where the actual text of the article is going to go. So I'm just going to say, this is where the text is going to go. And then for the image, this is something I'm going to show you guys later. So now if we go back to the app, what you need to do in order to get data in your app, the first thing you need to do is actually refresh the page. So you click on this reload icon right here. And what this is going to do is going to check the spreadsheet and it's going to identify what new data has been added. As you can see, it says new columns found because we added new columns. And do you want to automatically add new components for them? Yes. Right? So as you can see now, we get that article on our page right here. and the source is still the same sheet. However, now we have renamed the sheet to articles. Therefore, now here it says articles, right? So all this is now set up correctly. So now we can actually go back to layout. Now, before we talk about the options here and before we start customizing our app, let me show you once again how we're going to add a new article to our page. We're going to go to a spreadsheet and I'm going to create a new article. Let's name this test article 2. I'm going to say this is an example description. Let's make the author Jenny. And I'm just going to say some text. There we go. So now if we go back and once again reload the sheet, we should now get another article displayed on a list here, right? So that is how you add data to your app. The first thing you do is set up your tabs and make sure that the tab that you're going to add data to has the right source selected, and the source is basically the sheet on your Google spreadsheet that you're going to be storing your data. And then once you do that, reload the sheet, right? Click on this button to reload, and the new data that you add on your sheet should automatically appear on your app, right? So this is how Glide apps work, guys. You add data to your sheet and then you're automatically able to retrieve that data on the actual app. And one important thing to note is that this is fully dynamic. What this means is that when we make this app, when we publish this app, you're going to be able to add data to your spreadsheet and then it's going to automatically update on your app, right? You won't have to click on this button every time. Everything is going to happen automatically, right? The reason I'm clicking on this is because it usually takes a little bit of time for the app to refresh and get the new data from the spreadsheet. But if I actually do another article here, let's just make it super random like that, and I'm gonna pause this video and I'm not gonna click on this button. I'm just gonna pause this video for a second and you should actually see the article appear when I start recording again. There you go, guys, right? So the article automatically appear. I didn't have to click on the reload button. So usually it takes a few seconds, but then it automatically updates to the data that's on the Google Sheet. So everything is fully dynamic and linked together. Now that we learned how to add data to our app, the next thing we need to do is learn how we can actually customize the appearance of this data, right? So as you can see, we get some articles in a list, but they look nothing like the example I have right here. This is what we're trying to achieve, right? We want to make it all look nice and beautiful like this, but currently we only get some text right here, so it doesn't make much sense. So now we're going to see how we can actually customize this. Now we are on the layout page, right? This is where we're going to be customizing everything and adding components. And on the right hand side here, we get these styling options. Now these styling options, what they do is they basically define the style in which data is presented on the page, right? So currently, as you can see, this data is displayed in a list, right? So this is like a list. If I keep adding articles, all these articles are just going to be listed here, right, in a nice list. And the reason that happens is because the style is currently list. If I click on compact, look what's going to happen. We get, once again, we get a list, but it's a different type of list. It's more compact. If I click on tiles, we get a different style of presentation, right? If I click on checklist, we get, once again, we get a list, but we also get a checkbox on the left hand side, right? So the idea here is that you can use these different styling options for different types of apps you might be creating. But for this, for the app that we're going to be creating, for this news app, we're actually going to be using the cards styling option, right? And this is going to display all the articles in a list. However, it has this nice element where it's able to add an image, and then it also gives us the opportunity to add text here, text here and also some text down here, right? So it's the same thing as a list, however it has more elements that we're able to customize, therefore making our app look nicer, right? The next thing we need to, the next section we need to take a look at is the data section. Now the data section is where you're able to assign different data from the spreadsheet to different elements on the component right here. So as you remember, on the spreadsheet we have a title, description, author, article, and image. If I go right here and I click on one of these selectors, I'm gonna get all those columns, right? All these columns, I'm able to get them right here on a nice drop down. Now these right here are the different elements on the component. So the image is this. This is where the image is gonna go. As you can see on my example, this is where the image is gonna go. The test article, this little text right here, is actually the header, right? The title is this thing right here. And then the details is this thing right here. So what I can do is then go and for each one of these elements, I'm able to assign different data from my spreadsheet. So now let's go back to our spreadsheet and let's actually add some real data in here. So I have an Excel sheet right here that I created with some example data. These are some articles that I found on medium.com, right? So I'm gonna just go ahead and copy all this data together with the image, and I'm gonna paste it right there, right? So this is one article. Now if I go back, as you can see, we have nothing because I deleted all the previous data. However, now if I go to reload sheet, it's gonna get that new data. There we go. Now it automatically added, I think there's an issue there. I need to reload the page. There we go. So as you can see, it automatically added some of this data to the component right here. But let's make sure that it's all correct. So the image, this thing right here, is assigned to the image field. And as you can see, the image field is a URL, right? If I open this URL in my browser, I get the actual image, right? So when it comes to images, you're able to basically go on, you can go, for example, on Unsplash. You know, Unsplash is like a Unsplash, sorry. It's like a copyright-free website where you can get images, and I can just go here and find any image that I want. I could just click on this, and then when I open the image, I can click on Open Image in New Tab, and that's going to give me the URL of the image, which I'm then going to be able to copy and paste on my Google Sheet, right? So now, if I reload this again, that image will appear right there. There we go, right? So that's how you add images to your sheet in order to appear on the app, right? So I'm gonna go back and add the other image. Let's see, let's just copy that. There we go. Okay, so now let me refresh once again. There we go. Okay, so that's the image component. That's correct. The header is now this thing right here. And I think that it's better to add the author's name right there. You know, it makes more sense. So what I'm gonna do here where the header is, I'm actually gonna click and select author. Now author, I actually made a mistake here. I should rearrange this, and I actually need to copy this text here, and then the author is gonna go right there. Okay, so let me reload this once again. Great. Okay, so the header is author, and then the title is this thing right here, which is actually going to be the title. You know, I want it to be this right here. So I'm going to leave that as it is. And then finally, details is this text block right here, which I'm gonna leave as the description. So it automatically assigned the fields for us and they make sense. I like it. I like the way it looks right here. So I'm gonna leave it like that. Now the next thing we can do is actually scroll down and we have another section called design. Now in the design section, we can actually customize a few more things on this card. So as you can see, we can customize the image shape. So when I click on this, I can actually select 3:2. So that's going to make the image a little bit bigger. I could do vertical if I wanted. It purely depends on how you want your app to look. It's fully customizable. I think I'm going to go with 3:2. And then you can select other things like full size. You can half size. So you can have multiple articles on one row, right? So what you can do is actually down here, I think. No. All right. So yeah, it's a different styling option. Anyway, so here what you can do is select the way that this card appears. So you can select the flow type. So you can have it so it has like a shadow around it, or you can get rid of that and just display like a border line, or you can just completely get rid of it. But I like the shadow, I like the way that looks. Then we can round the corners, or we can have them like a square, I like it round, so I'm going to select that. And then on this section, we can select the text style, right? So if you want the text to be bigger, you can make it bigger. Or if you want it smaller, so more of the title is actually displayed, you can make it smaller. 3 lines of text, right? So this is like the description right here. We can choose how many lines of text we want to have for that. And then finally, all caps. If you want to make the title all capital letters, you can select that. Finally, there's some more options like overlays, and these are some more advanced options that we don't really need for this app. I'm actually gonna make the text size medium. I like it better like this. And now let's go back to our spreadsheet and let's add a few more articles. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just copy all these. I'm actually gonna rearrange the author. Wait, so I think it's okay, so it's article author. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm gonna copy all this and just paste it right there. So the idea, guys, is that when you want to add articles to your app, you're going to be going to your Google spreadsheet. You're going to be adding your article right here, and then it's automatically going to update on your app. So this is basically going to be the backend. This is where you're going to be controlling your application and what your users are going to be able to see when they open the app, right? And as I mentioned before, it's fully automatic, right? So as soon as you update the data here, after a few seconds, the user is going to be able to see it on the app, right? So that's really, really awesome. So now that I added the new data, I'm just going to go ahead and reload the sheet. So it automatically updates right there. Perfect. So as you can see, I get all the articles are created in a list. Perfect. So we now managed to get the data in our app and we're able to display all the articles, a nice preview of all the articles. But the next thing we need to do is actually have a way for the user to see the article, because here we're only displaying a description. This is a short description. We need a way for the user to actually be able to read the article, So what we need to do is for every one of these articles, when the user clicks on them, they need to be able to get a new page with all the article information. Now, if I click on this, as you can see, every article I click on has a new page, right? So by default, this is created and every article is going to have its own page. But now we actually need to customize this page and add the data we want on this page. As you can see on the right hand side here, we have some components, right? So components are the different elements that we want to add to this page. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete both of these so we can start fresh. Now the from data, this option right here, basically tells the app that we want all the data to, actually no, this is for the title. Okay, so this thing right here, right, this thing right here is the actual title of the article, right? If you click on this option right here, custom, you're actually able to add a custom title. So you can just say article instead, right? So if you don't like to have the actual title of the article right there, you can just change the text to anything you like. And then every single article is just gonna say article at the top, right? So that's your choice. If you select back, if you go back to this option and select title, then the top heading is going to be the title. I think it's better to just have article there, you know, it's shorter. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is obviously add some components to this page. The way you add components is by going to the plus icon right here. And now we get a huge list of components we can choose from in order to display on our app page. Now the first component I'm going to choose is actually going to be this one right here. It's called title, right? And this is a nice component. I'm going to show you what it does in a second. As you can see, it has an image, and then it also has, it allows you to add some text on top of the image, and I think that looks pretty cool. As you can see on my example here, I have an image, and then on the image I have some text. Obviously you're free to choose any component you want. You know, you can choose anything you like, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how you can assign data to a particular component, but then you're free to do anything you like and fully customize the page in any way you want. So now that I added this component, what I'm going to do is click on it, and I'm going to get some settings. And this is a familiar section that we've seen earlier. It's called the data section. And this basically allows us to assign data from the spreadsheet to the different elements of the component, right? So title for this component is actually this thing right here, this. The details is actually this thing right here. And then the image is the background image, obviously. Now, I think that I'm gonna have the title assigned to the title, and I'm actually gonna leave the description empty. You know, I think that is too much. There's no point of having the description because we already have that on the preview. Right here, they would want to read the actual article, right? So there's no point of having a description there. And then the image is obviously going to be the image file that's correctly set up there. So I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to go back to components, and I'm going to add a text component, right? So this is just some text that we're able to display right here. And for this component, the source column, I'm going to set that to article, right? Because here I want to display the actual article, right? The full text that the user is going to read. So I'm going to select article, and as you can see here, I get my full article. I know this is just some random text, you know, I didn't want to copy paste the full article. This is just some random text. But if I go here, you know, I can fully edit this, and I can actually add, you know, I can copy paste it to show you guys. So now we have even more. So if I reload this, oh, I need to, okay. So now if I reload this again, there we go. So this is where your article is going to be displayed. And then you even get some more options like right here. So we get a design option, and here we can select the style, right? So we can have like you get these options on like Microsoft Word. You know, when you're editing your document, you're able to select the different styles of text, right? So you're free to choose anything you like. I'm just gonna go with the regular. That looks great. And then on the alignment, I'm actually gonna choose justified, right? I think that looks nice there. And then we have some more options right here. So we are able to truncate some the text. So basically, if you had like many components of this page, you are able to basically show less or more of the article, right? Have this option right here. But since this is an article page, I'm not really going to do that, right? I just want to display the full article right here. So this is it, guys. We have successfully created this page. So now we can also add the author, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to components. And this time I'm actually going to choose the basic text component instead of the text component. And the reason I want to choose this one is because it also adds the label of the field, right? So let me show you what I mean. So I added this component right here, but I'm actually going to move it to the top of the article. And when I click on this, I can actually select author, right? And as you can see, we also get a label. So it says author, right? We don't get this with the text component. We only get this with the basic text component, right? So it's good. It's a good idea to explore the different components, especially if you want to customize the app in any way you like. There's so many components you can choose from, and the principles are the same. You know, like you would select the component, you would add it to the page, and then you would assign different fields of data from the spreadsheet to the different elements of the component, right? That's how everything works in Glide, right? So that's the idea, guys. Now, what we can also do is actually add a button at the bottom, and this is optional, but I want to show you this. So if I search for button, this right here, I can name this full article. And the idea is, if you don't want to display the whole article on this page, what you can do is actually add a link to the full article on another website, right? So you might choose to create an app that only displays like a short versions of articles, and then you can link to the full version of the article that is that might be hosted on some website, right? So if I go to like CNN, for example, and I find some random article, let's see, let's go. Okay, I don't know why it's reloading. Right. So currently on the coronavirus lockdown, so every single article is about coronavirus. So yeah, the idea is that if this is the article I want to link to, I'm just gonna copy this this link, right? And then what I need to do, what I need to do is go to my spreadsheet here. I need to create a new column, call it full article link, and here I'm actually gonna paste that link, right? So now if I go back to my app, let's see, where are we? Right here. Now that I go back to my app, I'm gonna reload the sheet in order to get the new columns of data. As you can see, new columns found because I added a new column of data. I'm gonna click yes. Now let me go back to the article here. And now, as you can see, it automatically added a new component. And Glide does that it would just randomly add new components when you have new columns of data. It just automatically creates new components. But I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this. What I want to do is I'm going to click on the button component that I just added, and on the features, so here you can basically enter the title you want the button to have, and there's also some styling options, right? So I can change the style of the button and so on. But then what I want to do is go to features, And here I'm able to select some actions that I want this button to have. So basically, when the user clicks on this button, I want to open a link, right? And the link is gonna be the full article link, or in other words, this link right here. So let's test that out. Let's click on this, and as you can see, the article opens up, right? So that's another thing you can do. For every article that you create on your spreadsheet right here, you're able to also add the link of the full article. If the article is on another website, you can add the full article link, and then you can have a button open that link when you click on it, right? So there you go. I just wanted to show you another example of another component that you can add on your page. Now, the cool thing, guys, is that this template that we created right here is actually going to be replicated across every single one of these articles automatically. So now when I click on this, we get the exact same thing. Now, as you can see, we don't get a button here because we don't actually have a link assigned for this article. If I go ahead and copy and paste this link to every single one of these articles, they're all gonna now have a button, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. And as you can see, we now get a button, right? So that's the idea, guys. The template we have created is now replicated across every single one of these articles. And as I mentioned, once again, this app is now ready. We're able to share it with our users. But now if you want to make any changes, you just go ahead on your spreadsheet here, make the change, and the data is automatically going to be updated, right? So this is how you create a nice, simple news application. Now, the final thing we need to do, guys, is actually share this app. I'm going to show you a way where you can generate a link so you can share this app. Now, every app that you create on Glide Apps is actually going to be a web application. This means that the users that you're going to share this app with, they don't have to install it on their phone, right? They don't have to go to the App Store and actually download this app. They can access this app completely free using a link. So if I go to share, right, I'm able to publish this app. And now I can create a new app link, right? So I can name this news app tutorial, right? News app tutorial. And the link is going to have glideapp.io at the end. If you, at a later stage, you know, when you start, if you want to turn this app into like a business, you know, if you want to start like your own news company or whatever, then you can go ahead and upgrade your Glide account and you can actually attach your custom domain to your app. But by default, you know, for the free version, the link is going to look like this. So now if I paste this on my browser, as you can see, I'm able to get this app. And now when you open this app on your phone, you're actually going to get this screen right here. You're not going to get all this stuff. You're going to get this screen right here. So, and then your users can actually also add it to their home screen of their phone. So it's gonna basically look like an actual application. You know, it's a really good, it's a really nice interface. You know, but the cool thing is that it's completely web based, and you're able to automatically update it from your Google spreadsheet, right? So this is what makes Glide Apps so powerful and so unique. You know, so another thing I wanna show you guys is how to edit this icon right here and also the text right here. So we can go to settings, and then right here you're also able to upload your own icon. So if you want your icon to if you want to design your own icon, you can upload it right there. But if you don't, then you can just click here and they have a bunch of emojis you can use from. So I'm just going to search for like news, you know, and then there's some like newspaper icon here. I can change the background color, you know, I like that. And then here you can also change the theme of your app, right? So I can make it dark background. You know, if you like dark backgrounds, you can do that. It looks pretty cool. If you want to have like the title shown with like a bigger font, you can do that as well. I'm just gonna stick to the white version right here. So then you go to general, and here you're able to change your app name. So I can call this news app. There we go. And then description, you can have this is a news app that we created for this tutorial. And then the author, you can add your name or whatever. And as you can see, it has already refreshed with the new information we added. So this is it for this tutorial, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this and you now have all the information you need in order to build your own news application for your community. Now, if you're serious about this project and you want to take things to the next level, I'm actually planning on creating a full course and teaching you guys how to extend this app and actually turn it into a full business. And the idea is that with a news app, you can do a lot more than display news articles. You can actually add category pages that will display different types of articles. You can also have a story section where your users can submit their own stories and interact with your app. And the best part of all is that you can actually also have an ads section where companies are going to pay you money in order to display their advertisements, right? So you can actually turn this into a business and start making money from your news app, right? And this is what I'm going to be teaching you how to do on the upcoming course that I'm going to be releasing. Now, I'm actually going to be giving free access to the course to 10 people that sign up on the form that I have on this page right here, right? So the 10 people that are going to sign up first, they're going to get free access to the course, and they're going to be able to go through the course and give me their feedback, and they will also get access to the private community that I'm going to be setting up together with the course, right? So if you're serious about this and you want to be in those 10 people, go ahead, visit this link and sign up on the form that I have right there. Other than that, thank you so much for going through this course. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more videos and tutorials like this one. And I will see you soon.